Hi there, music fans. Welcome to another one of my polls, another top 10. And today I'd like to give you my top 10 favourite songs by the fantastic George Michael. Yeah, I've been a fan of George Michael since I think probably the late 80s, 1987, when the Fate album came out. I absolutely loved the Fate album. I like some of the stuff that he did with Wham before that, but I think it was the Fate album that did it for me. Even just the image he had back then with that with the leather jacket and the Levi's and the 50 style guitar. Absolutely loved that image he had for the Faith album. And yeah, I think that's what did it for me. I remember having a big poster of the album cover on my bedroom wall when I was a kid. Absolutely loved that image. And I got into George Michael around that time, and I seem to remember he was the first artist that I actually really loved that my parents didn't care for. It didn't help that in 1987, when I actually got into George Michael, that I think one of his biggest hits that year was a song called "I Want Your Sex," which actually got to number one in Ireland. I'm not sure whether it got to number one in England. It was a big hit in England as well, and a big hit in the US, but it got number one in Ireland. And "I Want Your Sex," absolutely, it wasn't one of my favorite tracks back then, but that's what he was known for. That sort of image. So, as I said in a lot of these videos, the artists that I listened to back in the 80s were all singers from years before, like Cliff and the Shadows and Elvis and the Beatles, Ricky Nelson, the Beach Boys. Um, and I think George Michael was the first artist that I actually liked that my parents didn't like. Anyway, so I thought I'd give you my top 10. I seen George Michael once. It was actually for this tour, the 25 live tour. And I'm not sure what year it was. I think it was 2007, I think. But he was absolutely fantastic. Just an absolutely incredible show, just full of hits. And it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. But here's my top 10. So at number 10 I have Freedom, which is one of them anthem songs. It's I think he closed the show with it back in 2007. Just an absolutely fantastic track. It was the first track from the Listen Without Prejudice album. Absolutely incredible song. Another song from that album I absolutely love is Cowboys and Angels. Just incredible. Just the songwriting is just amazing. Absolutely love that, and the production on that track is just fantastic. Cowboys and Angels, love it. And number 8 is probably one of his best ballads. I absolutely love it. It's from the Faith album, and it's One More Try. Absolutely beautiful. I have to say, all these George Michael songs, they can't be covered. I mean, once George Michael sang them, I don't think any of these songs has been covered. I know one of them has, and I'll get into that now in a minute. But nobody dares to cover George Michael's songs, because I think he did it just absolutely fantastic. You couldn't do anything else with songs that George Michael sang, because he sang them in such an incredible way. So yeah, One More Try is a prime example of that, and the next one as well, praying praying for time, just an absolutely incredible song. Love it as well. Comes from the Listen Without Prejudice album as well. Number 6 is a song which was the first song that I had on in my car when I first started driving. It was the first time I drove alone, without a driving instructor, without anybody else in the car. So it was a big moment for me. I was driving to work. It was a night shift actually. It was a 3 a.m. start, and so I had the whole road to myself. And I had this mixed cassette because I didn't have a CD player in my car at the time. I don't think many people did. So it was around 1998, and I had this cassette with it was kind of mixtape of all my favorite songs, and so I put the cassette in when I was driving to work, and that was the first song that came on. So anytime I hear this song now, it reminds me of that time, my first driving on my own. And it's Heal the Pain. Absolutely fantastic song. Absolutely love it. And number 5, I had to have something from is Wham Days in my top 10. And I think my favorite one is Everything She Wants. Absolutely incredible song. Number 4 is the song I was going to mention. It's the only song I think that was covered that did any justice to, because George Michael did the definitive version of this, and Kissing the Fool, absolutely love it. But then years later I heard Michael Bublé singing it, and I didn't know it was Michael Bublé. It was the first ever song I ever heard Michael Bublé singing, and I thought, what an incredible voice. And I think he did do a quite good cover of Kissing the Fool. But George Michael is still the definitive. I absolutely love that song. I love the video as well. It's black and white, and he has that 50 style guitar again. Just absolutely love that song. And number three is a cover that George did, and I think it's better than the original. The original was by Bonnie Raitt, and it's I Can't Make You Love Me. Just incredible. Just absolutely incredible performance by George. He puts his own stamp on anytime he does covers. I remember when he did the concert for Linda McCartney as well. He did a beautiful version of The Long and Winding Road, and I thought nobody could sing that as good as the Beatles, but George did an incredible version of it. And everybody knows about Someone to Love as well, the Queen cover he did at the Freddie tribute concert. Put his own stamp on that then. Yeah, just an incredible voice. Yeah, so number two, I have the iconic Faith. Absolutely love that song, and especially the video. It has everything I want to see in the video. Has the guitar, has George looking absolutely fantastic, has a jukebox. Absolutely love Faith. Just a great it's only like 3 chords or something. It's an absolute fantastic track. And number one, I don't think it'd be much of a surprise, but it's a Careless Whisper. Absolutely beautiful song. It's I think it's a contender to be one of the greatest records of all time. Absolutely love it. Definitely one of the greatest ballads of all time. Anyway, but I remember when they were doing the top 100 songs when it was the millennium. So it was 1999. They were doing the top 100 songs of the century, and George had a couple of songs in there, but Careless Whisper was number one. Careless Whisper was voted by it was a radio station, and it was voted by the listeners as the greatest song of the 20th century. Careless Whisper was up there with I think Bohemian Rhapsody was number two. One by U2 I think was number three. I can't remember what else was in the top 10. I think Feels a Go by Sting was in the top 10 as well. But yeah, Careless Whisper was number one. And I've started to watch some of the George Michael, since the Wham documentary, I've started to watch a few YouTube videos of George interviews. And there's a couple of interviews he did in the late 80s where he's getting a little bit annoyed when he's kept asking the question about Careless Whisper, because he's getting annoyed because he's trying to promote the Faith album, and which includes some incredible songs, and he's kind of getting annoyed that everybody keeps on going on about Careless Whisper like he hasn't written anything good since then. But yeah, it's just an absolutely iconic song. It's an incredible performance. I love the production. I love the sax on it. It's just that has to be my number one track. So that's my top 10 just for fun. I know a lot of people would have things slightly different. I don't know whether everybody would have Careless Whisper as number one. There's a lot of, like all these polls, as I keep on saying, there's a lot of songs that just missed the top 10. I'm thinking of Star People, Fast Love, Amazing, Jesus to a Child, Older, Hand to Mouth from the Faith album is just an incredible song. Waiting for the Day, it's just incredible song as well. As I said, Somebody to Love. Yeah, it's just some absolutely incredible songs George did in his career, and it's so sad he isn't with us anymore, because I know he'd still be putting out some absolutely cracking songs. And that Christmas song he had out was incredible as well. The December song, absolutely love that as well. I have to listen to that every Christmas. So that's my top 10, just for fun. If you have any comments, leave them in the section below. If not, thank you and bye.